So, thank you very much for coming. Sign and Digital Show, what a great show we've got for you. We've got a fantastic series of talk shows that we're doing here, live. We're going to be talking today about surface graphics, surface decor, which is effectively walls, floors and windows. Now, we've got a couple of great guests to interview today. The first one started his career with the Robert Horn Paper Company, before moving to McNaughton Paper, where he set up the McNaughton Visual Communications division. He then worked very closely with Antalis when Antalis merged with McNaughton Paper, and he's been instrumental in really setting up the Visual Communications department and division at Antalis Paper. So please welcome to the stage the Head of Visual Communications for Antalis, Mr. Chris Green. Hello, Chris.
Colin, how are you? That's great.
To see you.
Good to see you.
Take a seat.
Thank you very much.
Would you like a drink?
I would love a drink, thank you.
Let's
Yeah,
give
beer.
me a glass of water.
Can I just say, Colin,
It's got to be beer.
I've never walked onto an interview stage before with such a fantastic band, so thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Every meeting I go to now, this is what the basics I expect. So
Well, we got Stan and we got Matt there, so
Good stuff,
be good.
Stan.
Would have been nice to have had a bass player as well,
No.
but never mind.
you can't have
Now,
everything.
where's your drink? There you go, mate.
Thank you.
Chris, it's great to see you, and it's really good to have you here. I mean, you're a bit of a Bolton lad, aren't you, as well? So
You might be able to pick that up from my accent.
from the
yeah.
accent, yeah.
If I start saying garlic bread, you know it's not Peter Kay, it's me.
I understand that you actually get a little bit confused with your local MP, Chris Brown, is that right?
Yeah, no, the Bolton West MP is Chris Green. So
he's Chris Green.
Yeah, so I often have many agitated people accosting me in the streets about bin collections and things like that, so yes.
Chris, so let's get down to business. I mean, you're here, you're exhibited at the show, okay? You've got, as usual, a very interesting looking stand. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here this year?
Yeah, I think we're fully committed to the Sign and Digital Show, and year after year, we try to bring something new to the show and something a little bit more creative. Last year we had our American Diner theme, and this year we've got our retail store theme. So it's a big year for us this year because what we're trying to do is show lots of products in application, but also we're working with our hardware partners. So for the first time we've had hardware on the stand as well. And what we're trying to do is give customers the full experience. And that experience would be, if you're interested in media and application and learning new things, then we've got all those items covered. We're a part of the Decor Live, we're hosting that, so we've got a good chap called Tom on our stand, who you might have seen in some of the clips, who's explaining the real intricacies of wallpaper, vinyl fitting, magnetics. And then, as I say, we've got our hardware partners, so Grantham's, Revolution and Agfa, who are showing some stunning machinery and some really stunning things that you can do with the world of print. So there's lots of really exciting stuff going on, but the main core is you're there to learn and we're there to interact, and we're there really to listen to what your issues are, problems, and see whether we can overcome them.
What about the sort of products that you're focusing on? I mean, obviously we're talking today about surface graphics. What have you got in that world?
Yeah, so in terms of the surface, obviously walls, windows, floors, and even ceilings, we have an absolute range of products from our key suppliers who are Horrorful, our own brand, pan-European brand Koala, Drytac and 3A. So amongst those products there is really a product for each application, and depending on which pricing point you're coming from, everything's got a budget. We have things that are very economical up to real technically driven products that actually suit a very specific application. So there's lots of real products on show, actually in the applications themselves. So as I say, there's lots of exciting things happening.
Tell us a little bit, if you will, about Antalis and how the visual communications division operates.
Yeah,
how's that broken down?
Antalis are an international company. We're in 5 continents, 43 countries. I think our turnover is around about 2.8 billion, so we're a very big entity. But Antalis at its heart is a company that's always in change. Traditionally we're a paper company. That's been the basis really of the majority of our business, but as I say, times are changing. and visual communications is certainly a growing area for us. And since we became a PLC last year, there is more emphasis on growing our visual communications business, really as we see the paper market decline. So paper is still important, but we need to grow the visual communication side of things.
I think we got a bit of a clip, haven't we, actually, of with Joe's at your stand. Let's take a look at that. Can we roll the clip?
Antalis don't just have an amazingly impressive stand here at the show. They've also got 4 different Decor live demonstrations, and Tom is heading those demonstrations up now. Tom, before you give us a little bit of a demo here, tell us about the demonstration that you're doing today.
Okay, well, we're going to do wall coverings and magnetics demonstration, and then we're doing a vinyls demonstration as well. I'll show you briefly the magnetics, okay?
Can I just ask you one question before you go and do it? So why is it important for people to come here to the stand and have these demos? Is it something that they kind of feel a little bit like they're stuck on? You feel like you can educate them?
Yeah, certainly. And then they can ask any questions, you know, any advice that I can give them, more than right. We do a workshop at the Academy, so what I'm doing here in about 20 minutes, I actually sort of take about 6 hours to do during a course.
Wow, so it is very, very condensed. I'm going to let you crack on and get that magnetic up there. So Tom's going to climb. He's basically rolling the magnetic up. It's important to be able to roll it and keep it nice and easy there, so that you're not actually folding it and damaging the magnetic, but it comes off really easily. You put the board on and it's got a magnetic backer, right?
Yeah. So it's a self-adhesive magnetic base, which is fitted first, and then once that's up, we just use a ferrous backed material here. Okay.
So what Tom does is he actually puts it up there, so he starts right at the top, because of course the magnetics are quite heavy, so he starts up at the top and he lays it across so that it is parallel, lines it all up. So as you can see, he starts slightly above the line and then drags it down nice and slowly, so that it is completely and utterly parallel with the start of the magnetic board, as you can see there. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? Because you can rub any of the bubbles and stuff out as you go down, is that right?
Yep. Although if you get it right the first time, there shouldn't be any bubbles.
And you are getting it right the first time, and it's going down like a dream. Wow.
Quick it is to replace a backdrop, and you can change that for, you know, seasonal changes or for advertising sales, etc., etc.
And how long do these last?
They're semi-permanent, really. The magnetic's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, it's just a nice, easy way of changing your graphics and actually keeping them so you can change them again and reuse them, you know, the following season.
Get yourself here to the Academy. He's got wallpaper, he's got vinyl and magnetics. Come and see Tom.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, everything bound, you know, if you're doing magnetic products, they're bound to fall off the wall when you're filming. But
well,
yeah, it's one of those
Tom's a
things.
great guy. He's been in the trade for 30 years, so he certainly knows what he's doing.
Well, look, that's Koala Magnetics, is that correct?
Yeah.
And Koala is the brand name for the range of your surface graphics.
That's right. So it's our pan-European brand. It's got a heavy influence on interior decoration. So things like wallpapers, magnetics, some of the high-grab vinyls to go on walls and floor graphics. It's really centred around this. This is an interesting one. This is actually in our creative centre in Stockholm. So the brief was really to try to attract customers and passerbys, really to come in and engage in what Antalis does. So it's HP latex printed on a product called Koala Walk and Wall. Koala Walk and Wall is, as it says, is a graphic that can go on floors, walls and windows. From a floor perspective, it's got an R12 slip rating. So, you know, I'd say it's got a very strong slip rating because it's in a public place. Really targeted at short space outdoor applications.
Yeah.
But as you can see, and these are the beauty of the products. Really, what Antalis offer is really a kind of blank canvas when it comes to products. You know, it's really all about the creativity and the graphic design at the beginning of that process. That's important. You know, and we have many passers-by in Stockholm and many people visiting. So it just really shows that actually, if you get the right brief and the right graphic with the right combination of product and print, you know, you can get some really stunning images.
What about the actual adhesive properties of the Koala range? I mean, is it paste and bucket, or is it repositionable?
Well,
there's a lot of talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Depending if it's wallpapers, as Tom alluded to there, there's a number of ways you could do so. Traditional paste the paper, or the more common way of doing it now is paste the wall. And you also have some pre-pasted what you can interact with some water and apply that. So there's very different ways. In terms of the actual vinyl side of things now, I have to say this is where the development and the R&D has come in terms of really adhesive technology. So if you want a product that will fit onto a surface for a really short period of time, and you can take that off with no residue, once again, it doesn't really require any specific really experienced fitters to do that. That can be done really by the average Joe like myself. So products of ease of application and ease of removable, but equally wise on the reverse of that, you have some very difficult and challenging surfaces. So you want a product that really sticks and grabs, because it could be going in that situation and that application for a number of years, internal and external. So that's where really we've seen a lot of drive within our market on easy apply films and some of the high grab films. So that's where the R&D is going to come in.
We've got another clip coming up now.
Yeah.
Could you just take us through this a little bit?
Yeah, so this actually alludes to something that we've done as actually a design competition. The Antalis Interior Decoration Awards is a pan-European award, and what we did was really to offer out to designers, architects, students to come up with some creative designs that really shows what can you do with product in blank canvas situations. So something like this, when you take a look, you've got wall graphics, obviously you've got products on windows, you've got really products that can make an industrial brickwork effect, but obviously you see things on the table, another a blank office space, quite blank and mundane, and you can bring creativity not only in adhesive products, but also if you look on the wall, rigid substrates, the ability to fabricate, the ability to shape and cut and fold, bring excitement and colour into an office that actually, if you're working in places like this, it's really engaging. And particularly nowadays with the onset of third space, so if you've got a space, and meeting rooms are always valuable, to have a space where you can go and you feel creative and you can feel relaxed and you can really have a conversation and be creative and have creative messaging all around you. We have the products to really do this. Here's an example of retail. So what can we do for retail? Backlights, textiles, floor graphics, wall graphics. As I say, the real starting point for this is graphic design and creativity. We've got the products to do that. We've got a real catalogue through our main core suppliers, and as I say, from our perspective, we feel that we've got the solution. If you've got the creative angle and the creative drive and the brief, then we can give you great graphics like you've seen there.
That's fantastic. I really like those images.
Yeah,
the way they
great.
So is this part of the Antalis, what do we call it, the Antalis Interior Design Award?
Yeah, that's right. So that Antalis Interior Design Awards, AIDA as we call it, is something that we ran last year. And really it's to bring out this creative bent and to create an ecosystem really of print, design and substrate. So really to bring all that together and celebrate the creativity that people can bring. We have a pan-European range that covers all our countries, which is called Koala. So what we did was bring together a real luminary of design and creativity. So we had guys from publications such as Intermuros, Wallpaper, so real creative design experts, plus designers from hospitality such as Accor Hotels in a highbrow judging panel. And what we did was invite entries from a number of different categories for leisure, for office, retail, hospitality. And what we said was, show us what you can do with our product. And we had over nearly 300, 400 entries from across the globe, and we had some real fantastic results. And as I say, what it does is actually show what you can do with products and print and good design.
And what about for training? Okay,
Yeah.
because I know you have the Antalis Academy.
Yeah.
So, if I was a sign maker, can I come to you to get some training?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
what do you offer?
so we offer now 40 workshops.
40?
40 workshops. 40 workshops, plus we're also business coaching now, seminars, live WebExes. So we're really taking this forward, and it's something that I looked at probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I noticed that there was really a lack of training within our industry. So how do you bring the bright young people into our industry? How do you give them the skills? How do you really give them the appetite and the excitement about what we can do with print and product application? So it's something that started from, as all things, small acorns, that now we say, actually, this is a vital part of our business. And Antelis covers many different areas. So we talk about visual communications today, but we also talk about packaging, about office, about commercial printers, and we see our industry becoming really a melting point as people want to diversify, people want to try new things. And the Academy has allowed us to do that. The Academy allows us to reach out and say, don't be embarrassed, come to us, we'll give you a basic set of skills and an appreciation in really understanding what this is about and how you can make value from money on it, how actually you can, from a commercial aspect, this can give you new revenue streams.
Are you seeing any particular trends in the surface decor?
I have to say, this is an interesting one, and the creativity brought to life concept is really true in what we see. A lot of things at the moment is, how can we do things differently? So take some traditional concepts like floor graphics and wall graphics, but really, how can we make that more creative? How can you give me something that can be short term, quick changing, a little bit like the Koala Magnetics? How can you give me something that is really kind of visually impacting, but also takes into consideration things like legislative changes like fire ratings, slip proof, so a whole host of challenges, which is what we're about today, which is come onto the stand, talk to us. If you've got a challenge, if you want to do something that's slightly different, we feel we've got the products. And that's where we see the drive in creativity, and we need to make sure that we're innovative and ahead of the curve, and make sure that we've got a real broad collective of products that allow you really to take your ideas into the finished product.
That's fantastic. Well, let's bring up my next guest now. I think he's a sign maker of 34 years. He started out as a pinstriper, and he actually is the only person that I've ever met that's been to every single one of these sign shows in 30 years. So he's the managing director of Classic Print, and please welcome to the stage Pete Coleman. Stay there, Chris, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Come on, Pete.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to have you. Would you like some water, Pete?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I can't do the Alan Carr and give you a really nasty sort of, bit of alcohol or anything. I've only got this water here, matey. So how's it going, Pete? All right?
Yeah, fine.
You're here with Roland, I believe.
Yeah.
That's right? Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
I'm a Roland user.
So you,
have been since '89.
yeah?
16 machines, and they like me to be here and talk about it.
Well, we're talking about surface graphics, Pete. That's something that I'm sure that you've been involved in. How did you get started in surface graphics?
Natural progression.
Yeah?
The stripes just got bigger.
Yeah.
The surfaces got different. We started with vehicles, vans, and then people who have vans have walls.
So what advice would you give to somebody that was, perhaps involved in print but haven't really dabbled in walls, floors and windows? What tips could you actually share with them to help them to get started?
One, don't be scared.
Yeah.
It's just sticky tape. If it goes wrong, you can take it off. Go on one of Chris's courses. Go and talk to material manufacturers, printer manufacturers, get their advice. Everybody in this hall wants to help, one way or another. There's nobody out there going to make life difficult for you.
Didn't you tell me that once that I think the way to get started is to network? And
Yeah, networking.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Tell
you
us about that.
Take samples. You go to network groups.
Yeah.
Room full of enthusiastic people. Nobody ever has a downer. Get in there, talk to those, take samples, lots of samples. Be enthusiastic about your product. If you're not, the prospective client's not going to be enthusiastic.
Yeah. Let me just adjust your microphone for you a little bit there, mate. What about if you've never done anything like pasting to walls? I mean, are you gonna, you know, if you, I can't decorate. My wife, you know, thinks I'm a complete and utter klutz when it comes to DIY, so she won't let me near anything. So I'd need to get somebody in to do whatever, and she wants a feature wall in our kitchen. So there's no way I'm going to do it. So if you're a sign maker and perhaps you're not good at fitting, I mean you are, I know, because you've done vehicle graphics.
Yeah.
But what advice can you give to people about connecting with people that can help you out?
With being a small firm, we use subcontractors for our exterior fitting. So therefore there's no reason why you shouldn't have a local decorating firm and sub the fitting to them. They're happy, they've got the equipment, they'll do all your method statements, your risk assessments. What you need to do is find the client, print the stuff, take the money.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Can't say fairer than that, can you, actually? You can tell he's a signee.
Smile and invoice.
Yeah. So, Pete, you've been going in this game for, what, 34 years, yeah? That's quite something. I think we got a picture, actually, of your first ever lettering job. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Look at it.
Handcut.
What year was that?
86.
86. Look at how it's moved on. And we got some other examples, I think, yeah? Now, what's this?
Prezi, yeah.
Yeah.
The chap bought this car for his wife and we put the graphics on.
And this was before vehicle graphics had been invented, wasn't it, really?
There's no machine cut on that at all.
Yeah? Is that all, what, hand weeding?
Yeah, no, hand cut.
Hand cut? Oh,
Everything,
right,
yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. And
That's the first van ever.
that's the first one, yeah.
It took us 6 hours to cut the lettering. a plotter would do it now in about 4 or 5 minutes.
Right, okay. Yeah, but it's nice to see. It's a little trip down memory lane. So this Roland News, I mean, when did you get involved with them?
10 years ago.
10 years ago. And you're an advocate of technology, I understand. I mean, you believe that it is what moves the business forward.
It's fun. When you see something coming off a machine,
Yeah,
you've got to smile.
yeah, yeah.
You know, you look at the technology and you think, you know, it brings out the arkwright in me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we got
Somebody's going to buy it.
we got another pic of your setup there. What's going on here, Pete?
Oh, that's me finishing a little van graphic. I have to sit down to do it now. And that's spot on.
Yeah.
And those are safety signs. They didn't like the idea of drilling walls and putting clip frames up, so we print it in a clip frame.
You do a lot of safety signage.
Yeah,
And what material's that?
that's spot on.
The dry type
Spot on.
Yeah, lovely. And the lady that buys those just goes on and on. Loves the product. It's our showroom. We found people couldn't buy from a picture, so we put the showroom together so people could actually see product.
Yeah.
If it's difficult to put up, say you've got a particularly short woman and she wants to put a pop-up up, pull up, we show her how to do it, which is nice. Give her a coffee, sell her more stuff.
Let's go back to some surface graphics and talk about some materials. I mean, Chris has been talking about, you know, the koala range. Have you used that at all?
Yeah, we use koala.
Tell us about it.
It's white, you print it.
He's
What is
making
it
it
to
so
tell?
easy, isn't he? He's making it so easy. Tell us about the koala range that you've worked with. I mean, what materials do you prefer to use?
We use the like the polyester pull-up
Yeah.
material.
Yeah, koala roller.
I don't know, Michael does more of the buying. Yeah, a lot of the pop-up. But we keep trying different products.
Yeah.
As we come to the shows, the reps come in,
Yeah.
and show us the new stuff. We will then print samples, send it out, take it to the networks, and just generally enthuse about it.
What about wall murals and so forth? I mean, when did you first get into doing those?
Because somebody wanted one.
Have you seen much of a trend for like the business to consumer side, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, recently my wife had a spell of taking me around show homes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, you know, and in the kind of modern building now, you will see a lot of wall murals, you know, so whatever it might be, Prosecco or Clock or something like that, you know, you see quite a bit of cut vinyl still used in that type of application. So, yeah, you know, I think in varying different places, I think, you know, people wanting to personalise their homes or wanting to personalise their business space is definitely a trend that we see. And you know, as I say, certainly there's a collective of products that you can do to make that happen. You know, whether it's a children's nursery, you know, which over a period of time children grow up and, you know, it becomes obviously some of the graphics need to be changed. So
Yeah.
you know, what you want is really a product that can be applied and easily removed after a period of time and changed again as they grow through. So you know, certainly that B2C market is growing, as is the B2B with, as I say, the third space and shared offices. You know, that we see a lot more creativity down
Yeah.
there.
And what about the environmental considerations? You know, I've heard, you know, we talk about the term green garden stuff, and
Yeah.
is that what, you know, is the public aware of that? Are they asking for this?
A lot of the people involved with, say, childcare or medicine are aware of the problems. I don't think enough people promote the green guard. If you go to the printer stands now, I think 90% of the inks in the show today are green guard, but nobody shouts about it.
Really?
It's an upsell. If you want an edge over your competitors, look for what they're not promoting and then promote it.
Yeah.
So if they're not doing green guard, you do it.
Okay.
If it's not PVC free, do it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
a premium product. You can always back off and offer them a cheaper one. I'd go for the environmentally friendly, makes people feel good. Oh, and have the spec sheets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got backup from the manufacturer, because just you on your own walking in, they may not believe.
Yeah.
You could be just bullying. But if you've got technical sheets, got your cost sheets, they love that, and they love it for their insurance.
Do you find it actually helps you to pick up new clients to actually have a lot more technical data to hand? You know, perhaps
Yeah,
working with
yeah.
corporates and so forth.
Yeah, because people want, they want information.
Yeah.
They want to be educated about the product. So if they are asked by a senior management director, they've got an answer. They're not left floundering for information.
Is that something that you're finding, Chris? Is, you know,
Yeah, I
that
think
you get more and more on, you know, need for.
Yeah, I think you know, the market's become more educated now, you know, without a doubt, and that thirst for knowledge continues, and you know, particularly on the technical aspects, whether that be how a product performs or actually how you actually apply that product. You know, a lot more requests are coming in for knowledge, and it's one of the reasons for the academy that we have. You know, is to really kind of talk about product in depth and
Yeah.
what it can do, and more importantly, what it can't do. Because, as I say, you know, the wrong selection of products can lead to a catalogue of errors that really, you know, come back to bite you down the line. So, product selection, product knowledge, you know, we certainly see a lot of requests for information.
And I hear people talk a lot about fire ratings and things like that. I mean, where is that important? Is that for what, hospitality sector?
It is. Well, we had Grenville, didn't we?
Sorry, Peter.
We had Grenville Tower.
Yeah.
If you put in fabric on a wall, they want to know that it's got a right fire rating.
Right. Okay.
That scared a lot of people into doing proper assessments,
Yeah.
asking for spec sheets, probably not before time.
What about the wall itself? Because I've heard talk as well about the fact that everybody that's put in surface graphics on is actually at the mercy of the wall. What's that all
You
about?
can do wall preparation. Majority of the time, if you take the dust off and PVA it, you know, just clear glue, that gives you a good surface.
So wipe it off with a cloth, yeah, and
Wipe
then
it off with a cloth. If it's a really bad powdery surface, then you can put PVA on, which seals the surface.
okay. I want to ask you about repositionable, because it's a terminology that baffles me. You know, why would anybody want repositionable wall graphics?
Rental market.
Rentals.
Rental market.
Yeah.
If you've got a rented property, whether it's industrial or a domestic house, there are terms in your lease about what you can do and what you can't do to the wall. So if you've got removable, which is also repositionable, you can put the graphic up. Say you don't want to do a whole wall,
Yeah.
but you want to do a cut print.
And
You can put that on an office wall.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, people think you have to do entire wall, entire building. You can just do features.
Right.
That keeps the cost down, so it introduces the market and gets the client thinking about where they would put more, because you haven't hit them for
Yeah.
a grand on one wall, you know.
So at Classic Print, what do you find is the most common sort of surface graphics job that you're doing?
What we print. Surface graphics is wallpaper.
Yeah, but you seeing more of it now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you need to educate the market.
Right.
See, if you're in an area, say in one of the larger cities, people are going to be more open-minded to that sort of thing. We're more provincial, so it's a case of getting into the right people. So we would be looking for interior designers, because they're already looking for ways to impress their client,
Yeah.
and they will bring you finished artwork to scale. So all you do is print and roll.
And where are you finding interior designers? Where do you go looking for them?
Google, networking.
Really?
Till we get GDPR, get on Google, find a phone number, and tell them you've got this amazing product
Yeah.
that's going to blow their mind. If they're not interested, phone them all.
What about you, Chris? Do you find that you're working more with interior designers and so forth?
yeah, definitely. I think, and it's an area that we really want to engage in and target. You know, coming back to product selection and creativity. You know, it's the graphic designers, the architects, who are really trying to sell a vision and an idea. And what we want to do at Antalis is to make sure that we're engaged with these people to understand what their challenges are, so that we've got the right products. In some of the manufacturers and suppliers that we deal with, they're really R&D driven. So if somebody comes to us and says, I've got this brief, I need this particular product, we've got people like Drytech who could really create a product, a bespoke product for that application. So, working with the architects allows us to understand what the trends are, and then it puts us in a place where actually we've got the right product range to see really the idea through to the end result.
But not a lot of printers, print companies, sign makers have got that, not the wherewithal, but the drive to be able to connect with interior designers. I mean, aren't they a different breed? How do you cope with them?
What, the other people?
Yeah.
Ignore them. You go for the. If you're talking to somebody and the lights aren't on, stop talking. We'll find somebody else.
That's a fantastic bit of advice there.
So we had we're trying to recruit decorators to hang product for us,
Yeah.
because they've got the kit, they work on site. And we had one guy who was saying, yeah, but it's very expensive. He couldn't see where the market was.
Right.
All he could see was the problem.
I was going to ask you about that in terms of pricing and so forth. Is it quite lucrative? Are you able to actually get a good return from surface graphics as opposed to perhaps something like vehicle graphics?
Problem with vehicle graphics is a guy with a final cutter in his garage can do that.
Yeah.
So he can always undercut you. If you do more with print and cut and vinyl, you start to take your market back. If you get into wide format, he won't be able to have a wide format printer in his garage. He certainly won't have trimming tables. He won't have space to store material. So you now get into a two-tier market. Like we have the showroom, so people come and see us there, and they're sold on the idea, and then just upsell. Just do what anybody does. Get the interest, get the artwork. Be reasonable price.
Right.
You don't want to do one big hit and then that's it. You want it to be in a price range where it will go back to his friends, other people, other branches, and say, we've had this done. and it was only. If you can get them to do it was only, they're going to buy some more.
Right, okay. Right.
If it's stretch the budget, that's a one-hit wonder. You can't do that.
Yeah. And are you doing more commercial offices, or is it a mix of
50-50.
Is it between what commercial and domestic?
Yeah, and it's not a product we've done for a long time. We've only been doing it small scale for about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But now we're getting known for that.
We've talked to Chris about the koala range, but what about sort of products that you're interested in that have inspired you to actually, try new applications for surface graphics?
I like the blown wallpapers, like the embossed ones.
Yeah.
Because they give a lot of texture and you can get different lighting effects off it. So that's quite nice.
The collagen stand actually, which is just over there on the other side, is they got a fantastic new product there. It's called Dements, and I don't know too much about it actually, but there is a display there that you can go and take a look at, and I would wholeheartedly recommend that you do have a look at it. In fact, we've actually got somebody from Collagen here. Why don't you come up and say hello? Who have we got there? Dean.
It's Dean.
Dean, hello, Dean. Sit on the edge there. I'll pull my chair back.
Yeah, we're fine. Room for a little.
Dean, you've only just moved into this market, haven't you? What's the system that you've got?
We've got a brand new system that can,
a
brand new printer that can print and emboss at the same time.
Printing and embossing at the same time?
At the same time.
Okay, tell us about it.
It's fairly brand new.
I'll hold that for you.
You can see some samples literally directly over there. You print your image first. In the software, you can manipulate whatever image you like to bring out the structure in the image. Literally over there, if you come over afterwards, I can show you some samples.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And it goes through a system where you print and you lay down a structural ink. So when it goes through a heated bed, wherever that structural ink is, it'll emboss the actual print. So you can print absolutely anything.
You've only just brought this to market, haven't you?
It's being launched, this was a soft launch here.
Yeah.
We'll be launching properly at FESPA.
Okay, and tell us a bit more about the actual equipment, if you will.
It's a dedicated unit.
What's the name of it?
It's a Diments, called Diments. It's one unit, it prints first and then embosses afterwards. There's no second process, it's latex based, etc.
Yeah, okay. Well, what about in terms of where you're positioning it? Who are you really going for?
We can see it going into the actual wallpaper market itself, into
Right.
the actual production, because it will cut their costs from manufacturing wallpaper rather than coming up with a proof of a wallpaper. We can see it going into some of the bureaus in London for high-end production of wallpaper. We can see it going into some of the retail outlets for doing bespoke Audi, for instance. You can put Audi logos and emboss the Audi logos.
Yeah, I really like it without the print.
Yeah. You can also, if you just want the actual embossing, you can also paint afterwards. Right. As you can traditional wallpaper.
Okay. So how does it actually, what's the process that achieves this embossing?
It's literally, it's a dedicated match system, so the wallpaper comes with the actual printer. And what happens is you pick your design, you print your design, and there's what I call a structural ink. And you lay down the structural ink, and when it goes through the heated system, that's when it embosses.
Right.
Either embosses or...
So it's a water-based inking system?
It's a latex.
It is a latex.
Eco-friendly, fire-rated wallpaper, etc.
What about cost?
Output, rough cost per square metre, high end is £7.50 per square metre. So,
yeah, how does that compare with what you're producing?
That's quite favourable, yeah. Did embossed wallpaper you can buy what, 253 quid linear metre?
This is totally bespoke.
Yeah.
You can choose whatever design you like.
Okay, so if you want to go along to Collagen and have a look at that,
There on the corner.
then we'll have actually some good examples. Yep. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for our guests on the panel? Anybody here? No? Everybody happy? Well, I think that we're just about done really, guys. So thanks, Dean, for coming on. Thanks very much, Pete, and thank you, Chris, and thank you all for coming along.